Before we conduct an internal analysis, it helps to be aware of the 3 conditions that affect managers' ability to accurately analyse their internal environment. Amit and Schumacher set out 3 conditions, such as uncertainty, complexity, and intra-organisational conflict. Uncertainty is when an organisation needs to rely on characteristics of a general industry and environment, competitors, and customer preferences. There's often a lot of uncertainty in regards to these factors, such as how the external environment has a lot of competitors offering lower costs. As a result, Hiscoes needs to be offering more than just lower prices to remain competitive, and this uncertainty affects their internal strategies. Complexity involves the interrelated causes that shape a firm's environment and their perceptions of the environment, so how Hiscoes sees themselves as the market changes. Inter-organisational conflict is all the internal conflicts between those making decisions, such as if there have been recent changes in leadership. We first need to understand our resources. Kunke and Moorcroft define these as a source of a firm's capabilities, including individual, social and organisational. Whilst the gym doesn't produce a physical product, it provides a service. Resources can either be tangible or intangible. Tangible are observed and quantified, such as physical equipment, borrowing capabilities such as loans, general financial income, and IT resources. Intangible can't be quantified or observed, and as a result are hard for competitors to analyse and imitate. These include reputation and brand, HR, capacity for innovation, training programs, loyalty programs, and cutting-edge use of knowledge and skills within the field. Next are capabilities and core competencies. Hansen, Hitt, Ireland and Hoskin define capabilities as a combination of tangible and intangible resources and a foundation for core competencies, essentially how they complete organisational tasks better than their rivals. For Hiscoes, this would be how they combine the tangible resources of equipment and intangible resources of cutting-edge training programs. Core competencies, defined by Collis and Montgomery, are capabilities that serve as a source of competitive advantage, ideally sustainable. They emerge over time through organisational process and add unique value. For Hiscoes, this is including how they've acknowledged their capabilities over time and resulted in a positive brand which is hard to imitate or replicate. Competitive advantage, as explained by Greenwald and Kahn, is when a firm implements strategy that creates superior value for customers and gives above average return. The VRIN model best explains how to achieve this. A capability must first be valuable, meaning that it neutralises threat and exploits opportunities, such as having high-level equipment and trainers. A capability must also be rare, meaning it's not possessed by many others, such as having exclusive access to equipment that customers can't have at home. A capability must also be inimitable, meaning that it's not easy or it's too expensive for competitors to replicate, such as patented training programs or classes. Finally, a capability must be non-substitutable, meaning there's no strategic equivalent, such as services that don't provide the same effect as a service that Hiscoes provides. Internal analysis can also show flaws within an organisation, meaning what they're not doing very well. Due to the competitive nature of the fitness industry and its constantly changing nature, it's hard to know what customers want, and it's also hard to therefore tailor your internal resources to achieve the desired result. It's also really hard to innovate within the fitness industry. It's very easy for other companies to replicate things for cheaper, as we found with Hiscoes and their main competitor, 24 Fitness.
Lucy here with the evaluation of the general environment. There are 7 segments in the general environment that affect Hiscoes. The main point to remember is that Hiscoes cannot directly control these segments, therefore they're vital for a business to understand in order to return profits. We've chosen to begin the external analysis with a local level evaluation of the general environment. Our reason for doing so is simply that most people choose a gym based on the location, and local competition is more of a direct threat. Now, from looking at the Australian Bureau of Statistics of Surrey Hills in New South Wales, of course, where Hiscoes is located, we've discovered that the average person there is a 20-something-year-old Aussie, either single or a couple, haven't really started a family yet, working full-time and getting paid well. Next segment to look at is economics. Now from the ASIC website, we noticed that the top 4 organisations in the fitness industry do account for 63.5% of industry revenue, but they are controlling it well because the industry revenue is forecast to grow to reach $1.5 billion in the forthcoming years. And with that, of course, the employment level in the sport and physical recreation industry has risen and will continue to rise. So overall, the nature of the fitness industry is rapidly emerging and the direction is clearly forecasted to grow. Moving on to the political legal segment, this is how an organisation influences governments and how a government influence can affect an organisation. So essentially, here it's set out pretty clearly. The fitness industry boom put pressure on the government. The government introduced new initiatives to help improve the health of all Australians. They did this in conjunction with the health sector, which resulted in the government reaction of creating these programs and having citizens noticing these things, particularly in schools. This played a major role. But the overall effect from these influences was significant. Society's attitudes towards the fitness sector are predominantly positive, with a lot of people trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle with balancing a busy schedule. Now this fits in, of course, with the demographics of Surrey Hills that we looked at, making them a prime target market for gyms in the area. The Australian workplace culture is very progressive compared to many other countries. We support women in the workplace, we encourage diversity, some companies even implement quotas and targets, and we just have a general good having to go attitude. I think this is what allowed the industry to grow so rapidly. These three things will support the predicted continued growth from the ASIC that we saw before. The technological segment I find quite interesting because it both helps and hinders the fitness industry. On one side, development of machines and equipment at gyms, their major assets, safety sensors, tracking features, everything a person could want for their health and fitness is right there at their fingertips. But then also on the other side of that, mobile app software is being created with free workouts anytime, anywhere. So why would people buy a gym membership if they can just get that for free? In the global segment, I'm not going to spend too much time here, just the main focus down the bottom. Global events are not predicted to have major impacts on Hiscoes. Instead, Hiscoes is more likely to be affected by other interrelated industries such as technology or finance. Essentially, if a major global event would take place, it's going to affect all the industries, not just the fitness. Again, like we saw in the global segment, in the physical segment, Hiscoes is likely to be in a safe environment where any natural or man-made disasters are unlikely. So the physical focus of the general environment for Hiscoes could be looking at renewable energy efforts, minimising their footprint, and just producing environmentally friendly products, which we show ways that Hiscoes could do this in our recommendations later on, which Dom will be talking about. Now, moving on to the second part of our external environment analysis is, of course, the strategic group map. Now, we wanted to stray away from creating a map comparing quality and price. Yes, while they're important and are definitely things people consider when picking a gym, we thought it would be more interesting to compare operating times and the services and facilities that a gym offers. So, beginning at the local level, of course, Hiscoes, we thought to put it here. Anytime Fitness, low cost 24-hour access, Fitness Playground 24/7 again, but just a small independent gym in Surrey Hills. Vision PT, because it's more focused, they have less opening times. Same with F45, but it's more of a group thing. Moving on to the global, Jets Fitness prides itself being 24 hours again, but a lower cost. Anytime we saw before, they're just national as well. Fitness First is your regular standard gym. And interestingly enough, the Ardent Group, which actually owns all the theme parks, is in the fitness industry. So, of course, they're going to be state-of-the-art quality, but lower opening times. Now, for the fitness industry, it doesn't favour it too well because there are low entry barriers. There's lots of gyms around. It's easy to establish a gym. The bargaining power of suppliers is a problem because there are many suppliers. It gives them the power. Again, bargaining powers of buyers. The buyers purchase large outputs and they are a big revenue source. With their weekly memberships, it gives them the power instead of the gym. The threat of substitute products become a threat when there's lower price / more quantity, and Hiscoes has to have their products differentiated to reduce that threat. And the intensity of rivals among competitors. There's lots of gyms around, lots of competition. So according to Porter's 5 Forces model, a market has a high profit potential and thus becomes attractive when there are high entry barriers, positions of the buyers and suppliers are weakened, there are few threats, and there's a low to moderate rivalry exists. So being in the fitness industry, you don't have any of these things in your favour.
business level strategy that Hiscoes have implemented is a focused market niche strategy. This means that they are producing goods and services, in particular gym equipment and services, that serve the needs of a particular segment. Hiscoes Gym is very centred around 18 to 39-year-olds. Hiscoes have chosen a focused differentiation strategy rather than a focused low-cost strategy. Let's look at Hiscoes compared to their competitors in price. At Hiscoes, prices range from $24 for a regular membership per week to $72 per week for a membership including PT sessions. They also offer $27 for a single visit and a 10-pack for $195. On average, Anytime Fitness is $70.95 per month with a $100 joining fee. Fitness Playground offer memberships from $16.95 per week, and F45 Surrey Hills offer a 6-month membership for $65 a month and a 12-month membership for $70 a month. It's clear through comparing Hiscoes to their competitors in the area that they have not gone for a focused low-cost strategy. Now let's look at the services comparison. Hiscoes offer simple gym membership plans, options for pausing memberships, access to parking, amenities, gym and fitness classes, 10-week and 28-day challenges, access to squash courts as well as a gym, and gym facilities such as weights, cardio, group personal training, aerobics, spin and boxing classes. Anytime Fitness offer gym amenities, cardio, weights, functional training and PT. Fitness Playground offer weights, cardio, functional training, PT and health food areas. We can see that Hiscoes are trying to have an emphasis on their services rather than their price. When it comes to competitive advantage, through the analysis and comparison of the different gyms in the Surrey Hills area, we can see that Hiscoes are offering differentiation. Hiscoes offer different services to other gyms at a slightly higher price, and they believe that through offering more services, such as different classes and challenges, they are able to differentiate and demand more premium prices for their services. The strategy that Hiscoes have implemented for their target market is very narrow. The target market for Hiscoes is 18 to 39-year-olds that are health and fitness oriented, who live in and around the Surrey Hills area and are individuals that seek value for their money. The main way Hiscoes target their audience is through social media. They have a very strong personality on Facebook and Instagram, with almost daily posts on the challenges and services on offer to create awareness and keep consumers interested.
So, should Hiscoes internationalize? Generally, no. Hiscoes does not seem to be a brand or business that would fare well if they choose to internationalize. Although the gym and fitness industry has been stated to be growing with generally positive consumer perspectives in terms of socio-cultural and environmental factors supporting it in the political sense, the business itself may not be able to stand in an international market. The reasons as to why they may not perform well in comparison to if they stayed local stems from their core competency revolving around offering additional equipment and services that other Australian gyms do not offer. This may not work in foreign markets. This begs the question. Hiscoes provides additional services and can therefore charge premium. This is within the local competitive environment. What if other gyms in the international market can satisfy that? A business strategy model created by Porter may assist in understanding and answering this question in regards to why Hiscoes may not be the best brand to internationalize. It analyzes the business, Hiscoes in this sense, in conjunction to 4 specific attributes that play off one another, and this will be done in context of big established regions and countries such as America, Europe, China, Japan, etc. So, Porter's diamond model, we're going to be taking a look at it first in terms of the factors of production. Basic factors are readily available in most countries, especially gym equipment and so forth, due to the existence of other gyms in their location. Advanced factors should also be there, as developed countries would generally have the capability of providing technology and providing people who are able to be trained to operate the gym. Demand conditions. The general global consensus on fitness and gymming is positive, with a predominantly moderate to large size of buyers. This relates to the socio-cultural perspective that being fit is in a good light. Related and supporting industries. Suppliers and supportive services for gymming firms are also relatively established, as there would be other gyms already present. This is usually the case for established countries. Pattern of firm strategy, structure, and rivalry among firms. Competing in gyms in other countries will act as a very strong barrier for Hiscoes to establish themselves, as they are not only a new brand, but their core competency of adding different additional services so that they can charge premium annulled, when other gyms may be using that strategy. That is also not to say that in future, competitors may also end up replicating this strategy, which would push Hiscoes to try and innovate to maintain some sort of differentiation and sustainable competitive advantage. So, from the model, it can be gleaned that 3 of the attributes, factors, demand, and support, are well off. However, each attribute is contingent on the other 3, and because rivalry among the firms is especially unfavorable due to the amount of competition and the differentiation required to stand apart, it could be perceived that Hiscoes extending their reach overseas would not be their best choice, especially if they can get themselves set up and aim at a good target segment, but yet not attract any customers and generate revenue when the rest of their competition is fulfilling the same needs that they are, but add additional value by being an already established and trusted brand. This is further acknowledged by Lofts and Schwentz in 2014, who think that the characteristics of an industry and the need for innovation is an integral factor to consider when entering a foreign market, especially in regards to small and medium-sized enterprises with relatively limited capital. So what can Hiscoes do? There are some rather drastic approaches that Hiscoes may undertake in order to predominantly differentiate themselves so they can be better equipped to attract and entice their target segment, or from a strategic perspective, switch from a focused market niche strategy to appealing to broad segments through a strong differentiation strategy, with some ideas being. So the first recommended strategy will be including an in-house nutritionist along with a food or meal retail incorporated into the gym itself. With the previously mentioned concern of people's own health and well-being, and the urging of governments to get more healthy activities implemented by the fitness industry, providing an additional service for gym goers to purchase and consume nutritious food, as well as have a professional assist in mapping out what they should eat, can set Hiscoes apart from other gyms that mostly focus on providing equipment and some supplementary lessons. A particular strong point in this strategy will be for people who may have never set foot in a gym. These people would have some on-site assistance into guiding what diet they should pursue, and the gym itself can provide the schedule and exercises to be carried out, rather than being required to do extensive research and cooking for themselves, thus making it extremely convenient and increasing the chances of attracting and retaining customers, as Garcia Fernandez's research has found. Having these additional services would also justify a more premium pricing approach rather than the general differentiated services offered right now, because having a nutritionist and in-house food retail has a higher perception of differentiated service offering than the current approach. So a second strategic approach or recommendation that Hiscoes can take is to choose to specialize in a specific sport or small pool and provide a lot more equipment and services for it, along with having sponsorships and endorsements from athletes that may be well known in that sport. As noted previously, Hiscoes has a particular capability that is strong, their social media presence. So in terms of marketing, endorsements by a professional athlete and sponsoring sports events may further increase the range and reputational strength of their brand. It also serves as a way for Hiscoes to differentiate themselves by being perceived to be very strong and experienced in a particular sport or pool of sports, whereas most gyms tend to be very broad and enable training for a myriad of physical activities. Although this would mean that the gym is more tailored for a very specific segment rather than being broad, meaning that it is a more focused differentiation strategy, but otherwise it would enable and grant them the ability to establish themselves in foreign markets and stand out. Key aspects that should be noted with both strategies is that both should be conducted in a multi-domestic approach so that the exercises and food offered are tailored to the cultures and traditions of their respective countries. But of course, they'll still possess the innate healthy and nutritious nature that Hiscoes would be promoting.